Welcome back to Radio Taiwan International. You're listening to Geek Out. What's your cup of tea, tickles your fancy, or floats your boat? Join us as we share passions from people in Taiwan and around the world. I'm your host, Michelle Chang, and today in the studio we have back my very, very good friend and co-worker, Sharon.
Hello, people of the world. It's so good to be back and to be on your show, really.
Yay!
Yes.
What are we geeking out about today?
We are geeking out about just my recent trip, a solo trip that I sort of took a vacation away from work for around 2 weeks.
We do need to do that sometimes.
Yes, really, it's very important. So I went to Amsterdam, so the Netherlands, and then I went south. The Netherlands, Belgium, and I stopped at Paris, and I flew out from Paris.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
I know. Overall, I was really, I really needed this.
Yeah.
But also,
how long had it been since your last trip?
Probably a year, maybe.
Yeah,
a year. I feel really lucky that, especially with this job, it's quite flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So say if I want to visit family abroad, we can do that. So I'm really grateful. So,
yeah. Very much so. This company is very flexible. Thank you very much, Radio Taiwan International.
And a raise doesn't hurt. Like, keep them coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are actually... Many episodes have covered us loving our job here and describing the awesome office atmosphere.
I love my colleagues. Guess what? I think I told you. No, I told Phil that really throughout my trip, especially starting the second week, because I was away for around 2 weeks, I really miss you guys. I miss to the point that I do listen to like all of your shows. So every morning before I head out, I play a show with you on, and it's just it really I miss.
Did you hear that, guys?
Yeah, and when I was on vacation, of course, I try my best to enjoy your vacation. It's very important, but I do miss this job. I do miss the job. So
it's weird. When I'm away, I'm like,
I miss you so much. Yeah.
And this job can be done remotely. We are given the option to do that sometimes, but I like coming into the office anyway.
Same. So yeah, this is great. I really needed this time, and actually, this time feels a little bit different because the world is crazy.
Oh, it's crazy.
And
right now.
I do feel like, in comparison to my previous trips, where I can feel more away, like mentally and emotionally free, but this time there are things on my mind, and they are still. So again, like, take a break, and I'm here and ready to keep on doing what I think I should and I can.
Yeah. Traveling is great for mental health.
Yeah, so rest is important. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, let's get to some fun things. Yeah.
So you landed in Amsterdam.
Yes, which I have a very good friend, Sasha, who is actually a former guest of my shows.
Ooh.
And we kept in touch. Huge shout out to you, Sasha. She's a amazing curator, researcher. So I actually stayed with her in Amsterdam. She's just amazing. And she prepared breakfast and dinner for me. As someone who loves, I love my life. I live by myself. I'm a solo traveler. But it just feels so good when you come home and there's a meal prepared for you. I always joke that, is this what those white men felt in the 50s? like with a housewife? Yeah, jokes aside, huge thank you to my friend Sasha, and just really great. And so me as a traveler, I love art history and museums. I actually came from that field of work. Also, I was an English major. I did a master's in related fields. So when I travel, one big thing for me is go to different museums. That's pretty much the core of my itinerary. So every day I go to either a museum or some historic sites. I know everybody's different.
Oh, yeah.
Some people, they just go shopping, maybe.
Yeah, to each their own.
Yeah, to each their own. But I need to see history, and especially things that people don't really care about. Like, I will go to that one cemetery that has interesting.
I mean, look, it's not that most people don't care about stuff. I think it's just, like I said, to each their own. We're all interested in different facets of human everything.
Yeah.
So
I had a good time nerding out. Yeah.
I mean, I personally don't like cemeteries very much. I'm scared. Okay. But I would think you are too, because of the whole supernatural movie thing.
Okay, so I feel like, I think we haven't even got to this trip yet. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, so a couple of years ago, I was in Spain, and I was really determined to visit the grave of Francisco Goya, a painter. And I did make my way there. It was it's a very funny story. We should totally share this in a different episode, but I'm the kind of person that I usually go visit a painter's grave, like where they, rest in peace.
It's more like paying respects
paying
to
homage
specific
to
people.
them.
Yeah.
So and okay, how do we start? Do we start like location wise?
Yeah,
I really
let's
want to
go.
talk about the museums that I went to.
Let's talk about Amsterdam first.
Sure.
So you landed and you found your friend Sasha,
and then okay, big thing is definitely the Rijksmuseum, and I think we are all pronouncing it wrong, but I will just pronounce it the American English way. I'm sorry, Dutch people, but the Rijksmuseum. I booked my ticket like way before the trip, and so I'm a huge, say, Italian Renaissance, and basically I love paintings until the 19th century, basically the time when people still rode horses. I love older history.
Yep.
So the Rijksmuseum is a place that I really it's on my dream list.
Oh.
And I spent my whole day there.
I'm glad you got to check that off.
Yeah, really, it was so great. And just also, one of the most famous paintings in the Rijksmuseum is probably Rembrandt's The Night Watch.
Oh, Rembrandt is actually, I studied him quite a bit when I was
you have an art degree.
School, yeah.
So it was really just a speechless moment, and also the whole build up. So to get to the Night Watch, you walk on, if you can walk stairs, walk on a very grand staircase, and the building is itself a historic building. And you would open a set of glass doors, and then it's a big hallway leading to that painting. And actually, the museum is still doing a conservation project called Operation Night Watch. So actually, that area is fenced off with like a glass lab where people can see, if researchers are there, they can see them doing work on a painting. And well, we can go on and on. I know I have many other things to talk about. Long story short, I think one very intriguing thing about the Night Watch is Rembrandt wasn't painting at nighttime. It was actually set during the day. But how and why did this painting got the name? I actually plan to talk more about this. So it was really something, and I just nerded out so much. It wasn't as crazy as I pictured. Unlike the Mona Lisa at the Louvre, which we'll talk about. So at the Rijksmuseum, I feel like you do get enough time to really appreciate artwork.
And there's not a huge crowd of people pushing you out the way.
Yeah, it's very well organized. Mm-hmm. But for me, I can forego, like, I really want to see and appreciate artwork, especially paintings. I don't care if I get a selfie or not with, say, the Mona Lisa. It's so tiny, by the way. I just want to see, like, I read the research about the embroidery on the collar of the dress of the near her neck of the dress that she's wearing. I really wanted to see that because last time I was in Paris, I didn't get to see the painting. So this time I really wanted to see that. But okay, let's skip to the Louvre just a little bit. Mm-hmm. So the setup of the Louvre now near the Mona Lisa is, I actually talked to 2 security staff members. Of course, it's not their fault, but I asked, is it possible that they have an area fenced off, like a space you can go near the painting? I said, it's fine if I don't take any photos, which is what most people all behind you
are doing.
Yeah, wanted.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't need a photo. I just want to look at the painting. Can I do that? And they said no. Mm-hmm. So art appreciation, no. Quick selfie, yes. So it's like a interesting debate about like. Yeah, that was a little bit of you can say, I was a little bit disappointed. Let down. Like, I really just want to see the painting. I'm sure, like, anyway. So, yeah, Amsterdam was great. And also, one museum that I visited in Amsterdam on my last day is Anne Frank House. Oh. Listen, and I felt so lucky. Huge shout out to their media team because I actually emailed them saying that I'm a radio show host in Taiwan. And actually, this year is the 400, well, you can say, quote unquote anniversary on when Dutch colonizers came to Taiwan. Yep. So I actually plan to do some kind of programming with my shows, and I just really wanted to go there. Also, Anne Frank's Diary is a book that really changed the person probably I love the most in this life. My sibling
actually
Andrew.
Really glad that is more or less required reading in most schools.
Yeah.
So
Same for me, yeah, especially as an English major.
Yeah.
So I just, all of the slots were all booked out till end of April.
Oh.
But they received my email, and I wrote a really good email.
Mm.
I really expressed that why I wanted to come, and of course in a very respectful, humble way.
Right.
And then they replied and said, "Yeah, come this morning." So it was the last day. So I changed my train ticket. I didn't have to anyway. I pushed my itinerary till later, and then I went first thing in the morning. Highly recommend. It was a great visit. Just especially thinking about the state of the world right now, empathy is really important. And I feel like just if you are lucky enough to go visit a different country, really try to learn, spend some time to learn about the history and culture and of what it means to be human, I guess.
That's something that it confuses me that these people would go to such lengths to hate. The one redeeming feature of this species is that we can love.
Yeah.
It's
And it's easier to hate. Love has never been a popular movement, said James Baldwin. So anyway, I don't know, personally, I think this trip, like all of my travels, like I'm not a tourist, I'm really a traveler. It sounds cheesy, but there's a lot going on in my brain when I'm walking around, and especially the places that I go to. So yeah, Anne Frank House in Amsterdam, really recommend. And should we move on to
what's next?
Belgium?
We went to Belgium.
Yes, I went to Belgium and stayed with a really nice host. And the only museum I went to is the Musical Instruments Museum, which I shared quite a lot with Phil. So that museum is really interesting, I think. It's in a Art Nouveau building. I think you would appreciate that. So architectural-wise, it's very interesting. And it's the first time that I listened to a audio guide, but it doesn't have any human talking. It's just the example of the instrument's sound.
Yeah.
So it will give you a song, and it actually provides the song title and the era and the year of the song. So most of the times it's like older music.
Right.
So it's just very intriguing, and I love nerding out. I know you love
of any time that you're going to have an audio guide, it should be the Musical Instruments Museum, because
actually I forgot to take mine when I head up. I was like, did I forget something? Oh yeah, I saw all these people listening to something. Also really recommend this museum in Brussels. And of course I did go to the Louvre, as I mentioned.
Yes.
And I'm a very lucky person. It's actually my second time there. So this time I think a highlight is definitely okay, let me start from the beginning. So when I was doing my master's in the US, I did a research of a female landscape painter. Her name is Louise Josephine Sarazan de Beaumont. So her time was the early 19th century. That was a very different time in many ways versus our time now, for women especially.
Yes.
So for her to be a landscape painter, it entails a lot of challenges that, say, most male artists in that era wouldn't face. And she was really just exceptional. She was financially independent, didn't marry, had no kids, and traveled extensively, and before she passed away, she actually donated several of her works to museums because she envisioned that people later on from a later generation could see her work. And I'm one of those people. And I got to see her painting called A View of Paris from the Louvre at the RISD Museum in Rhode Island. And that painting, it prompted me to do like a research on this painting and her. That's why I know of her. And then I know that she painted that scene from the Apollo Gallery from the Louvre. So this time I was very determined
to get really, to the Apollo Gallery.
Which I had before, but it was like a different setup, I think. Anyway, so I went there and I really want to find that angle where she painted the city scene of Paris then. So I want to see what it looks like now. But guess what? When I went to the Apollo Gallery, the side of the windows, they were off, like fenced off, and they have the curtains like drawn down.
No.
So I was like, no, is this a joke? But I was so determined, and I just love geeking out, hence I'm on a show. So I took my phone and I pulled up the painting by Sarazan Beaumont, and I talked to one of the guards to see if it's possible to let me go near the window. I just want to look out from the window and take some photos, and that's it, and I'm happy. So I went to a security guard and I explained pretty much what I told you. And she just like, yeah.
Oh, cute.
Super cute. But it was just like, I was just imagining if I didn't say all of that,
Mhm.
I think she'll probably be okay as well. So anyway, I approached the window pane and I, lift the curtain and I look outside from the window. It's the exact same angle of her painting, of that painting. And I was totally nerding out, geeking out, and my heart was pounding so fast. And while other people are like, what was she doing? Really? They're like, is there something to see at the window? So
well, there is something to see, but
for me.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, so that was really nice. And before I left the Apollo Gallery, I actually gestured to the security guard and thanked her. She made the whole trip really special.
Yeah.
So that
really
was
shout out to people who work in the service industry.
Frontline staff.
Yep,
Huge shout out to you. And so that was really, really, really amazing for me. Like I feel, I really just like, this is what I meant when I really care for things that people don't usually care about. And I find that really cool. It brings me so much happiness. And of course, like all of I'm sure you know Jacques-Louis David, his paintings, especially the big ones, like, the Crowning of Josephine.
Oh, yes.
Because last time I was at the Louvre, that whole gallery, I think it was like fenced off. It was not open. So I was really sad. And this time I got to see that gallery. It was really amazing.
Yay.
It was really something. And especially just seeing the paintings that I kind of studied when I was in university is really special. And it reminds me of a professor that really changed my life, Dr. Joseph Murphy, his class. And just, I feel like museum visits for me are still very special. And I kind of feel like this solo travel really brought me back to a space that's really good for me, I would say.
Yeah. I did want to actually talk about solo travel.
Yes.
Because that's something that a lot of people are too afraid to do. They're, for whatever reason, unwilling to go take a trip by yourself. I mean, especially from a woman's standpoint, it can be really scary to do that.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about, why you love solo travel.
Thank you for the question. I've been thinking about this. I feel like, first of all, I am very lucky that for example, I do speak English quite fluently. Probably not on Monday, but like I do speak English fluently. So language-wise, I'm equipped with some skills that I could use.
Right.
And I actually do speak a little bit of French. I called it like first line or 3-line French. Like I can speak the first 3 lines.
Okay.
And actually, when I was at the Paris metro, anyway, I need to talk to staff, and he thought I spoke French. And when my final line was, "Do you speak English and French?" he said, "You." So I feel really lucky that I do have the skill that could make me feel more relaxed solo traveling. I would say I'm quite an adventurous person. I'm a very curious person. I love to really get to know more of the world, and especially coming from Taiwan. Taiwan is, well, overall, all right, pretty good, but we need to really just learn more of the world.
Well, I'm going to say that is the same for most countries.
Yeah.
I mean, we all teach our children in a specific way in a country, and then it's up to, then the onus is on the child and the family to go and open up their minds and visit other places. But the majority of people don't do that.
Yeah, and probably it's because also financially, like I feel very lucky that I could afford that myself. And so I think also, like you've said this before, like really encouraging people, if you could do it, afford this financially and emotionally, mentally, go do it. And also I really enjoy solo traveling because I really enjoy my own company.
Yeah.
And that is something
that's kind of the thing
many people haven't thought about in their whole lives. And they, I don't know, find a partner, get married, build a family, but they don't really know what they're about.
When you have a friend who's like, we all know people who've gone through breakups and stuff and have spent some time alone. And it is, I feel, really, really true that you must be happy alone.
Yes.
Before you can be happy with anybody else.
I feel
again, that is extreme truth. And the solo travel thing, for me anyway, and I'm sure is probably similar for you, being on a trip with yourself, if you are happy with yourself in your form and you accept yourself wholly, then is quite an adventure. It gives you time to be with you.
Throughout your whole life, there is one partner that you will always be with.
You. Absolutely.
You. And I think some time by yourself and also in a different setting, it also kind of filters, it shows you what are some things and some people that are really important for
Right.
you. And it's a process of constant discovery, also, adjustment as well. Like I realize I really do love my colleagues. I do miss you all.
Aw.
And so it
Yeah, it gives you that opportunity to be
solo traveling is
introspective.
great. Yeah. And I actually would love to go to really West Asia. Really. Also, that's a region that is really, I think, misunderstood by most of the world.
Mm.
So yeah, I think
That's next on your list.
Really. Mhm.
Wow. Thank you so much for geeking out with me, Sharon.
Thank you for can I talk? Thank you for having me on Geek Out.
And thanks, listeners, for tuning into Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle Chang, and we'll be back next Thursday with another episode of Geek Out. Bye.
Bye.